For today's history video, I'd like to go back 11 years into 2004 and explore what happened the last time terrorism and fear of terrorism dominated a presidential election. The attacks of 9/11, 2001 occurred obviously 3 years before the election in November of 2004. And shortly after the attacks, in fact, about a week after the attacks, the New York Times was asking, when will things be back to normal? When will politics as normal assert itself? And the focus was on when politics could get back to being not dominated by the terrorism issue. But it didn't happen. Throughout 01 and 02 and 03 and into 04, a pattern emerged. When the Democratic challenger to George W. Bush, John Kerry, was compared with Bush on issues in the polling, Kerry won every single one. Who was the best one to manage the economy? Kerry. Who was the best one for the environment? Kerry. Who was the best one to hold down taxes? Kerry tied in that. Who's the best one for foreign policy? Kind of close. Who is the best one for unemployment, the best one for the elderly, the best one for Social Security, the best one for health care, best one for education? Kerry won all of those. The only issue in which Bush won was fighting terrorism. That's the only one. And that was all he needed. The terrorism issue dominated the election, even though it was 3 years after the 9/11 attacks. In fact, what happened is interesting. In the first debate between Kerry and Bush, the subject was foreign policy, and it was about terrorism, and Bush dominated it and surged out to a lead as a result of it. The next debate was on domestic policy, and as a result, Bush really lost the debate, and Kerry gained back the ground he'd lost. But then in the last week before the election, the New York Times discovered an arms cache in Iraq and claimed that the U.S. Army had left it open and that the Iraqi insurgents were getting weapons from it, and that showed how incompetently the war in Iraq was being managed. And it had the perverse effect of backfiring and helping Bush. Later in the week, they found that the cache was exposed under Saddam and that we didn't do it. But that was irrelevant. The important thing was that when the topic shifted back to Iraq, Bush shifted back into the lead. And there's a very good likelihood that that will continue throughout this year, that the Paris attacks and the possibility of other attacks will make the terrorism issue the dominant issue, and an issue in which the Republicans have a strongly built-in advantage. 2004 may well be in the process of repeating itself. Grisly, because it's being driven by terrorist attacks, which cost many, many lives, but ultimately important because it may restore Americans to their sanity and the Republicans to the White House. Thanks for watching.